Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
And in this Hooked on Adventure, let's find out if this story plotline will gel in your D&D game.
Jump down to the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with us.
So today we have a interesting topic that I stumbled upon in one of the Facebook groups. I know a lot of our videos are coming from there lately.
But they're interesting.
But they're interesting. We need ideas, and we've got like 3,000 videos already, so, we need a fresh take sometimes.
Sometimes.
So the centerpiece for this Hooked on Adventure is the idea of a gelatinous cube. And from this, adventure is going to spawn. So we have two different directions we can start with.
So you can either try to have your adventure be all-encompassing or start with capturing a gelatinous cube or a portion thereof, or the cube is already in the town and players have to deal with the problems that it's caused.
Right. So if you start with capturing or getting a piece of, so the getting the piece of is to me is the idea that you're going to extract some of it. So the adventure might be locating where you might find a gelatinous cube, and then maybe you're giving a device, maybe some kind of magic device where it's almost like a syringe or something.
Yeah. Or you have, some kind of, axe that will actually sever a piece off, and you then have to like scoop it into something and get out of Dodge.
Especially if, like, the idea of, like, if that's one of the weaker monsters in said dungeon, that you have to kind of, like, locate and then overcome and take the piece from it. And you can, like, do an interesting plot twist, like, the thing about gelatinous cubes in my world is if you kill the gelatinous cube, it'll kill the piece.
Right.
Yeah, like there's a symbiosis where they're connected, until it can be around for a while. So
until it's its own creature, really.
Yeah. So literally, they can't kill it. They have to take the piece, then they have to get out.
Right. So that makes it far more interesting and more of a challenge, because a lot of times when you are fighting a monster in D&D or any RPG, it's really, you kill a thing. You don't try to get a piece of it.
Right. So if you go with that route, it's going to change things later for the stories we have in mind for later. But we'll circle back to that. Now the other thing is if the players have to capture it.
All right. Well, this becomes, in my mind, utter ridiculousness, because capturing a gelatinous cube, they're dumb. You're going to be able to lead it around to wherever you want.
I thought you were going to go with, like, in my mind, as soon as you said ridiculous, I was going like Benny Hill.
So, you could, if you could get it to, to move, you could just literally lure it to wherever you want. But, the things move slow. So, if somebody's really invested in this project, you could go and make one of these ridiculous contraptions that's really a room on a wagon, and you get that butted up against something so that it's led into the room, that you have a way, you literally walk through, and you go out one side and close the door, and it follows its prey inside, and then you close the door behind it, and now you've got this thing in a room of all inorganic material, so it can't eat anything, and it's trapped. So now you can take it to where you want to go, but setting something like that up, I think, is just ridiculous.
So, I'm getting, in my mind, have this mental picture of a dwarf poking, and I don't know why it's a dwarf, it could be a gnome, I guess, poking the gelatinous cube with a stick until it moves, and then they get it to follow it out of the dungeon, and into your wagon, like you said, and then they go down the other side. It's a stupid thing. Close it up. Boom, got it. Or, maybe they have an extra dimensional space that they can trick it into going into. That would be way easier than the room on a wagon. But
get inside my bag hole thing.
Get in. Why will you not get in? But it could also be a trap that's specifically made with that property to help, to facilitate that.
Portable hole. That's the way to go.
Just lay it down and be like, over here.
Portable hole. You put a couple, body parts leading to the hole. It'll fall in. You fold it up, put it over your shoulder, and off you go.
And take it back to town.
There you go. I think that's the easiest way to go.
That is the easiest way. Now, here's the thing. You could either, give your players, like, here's how you're going to capture it. You got to do a little work and find it and figure out where they are. But, we're going to eventually get there and you're going to be able to get it and you already know what you have to do. Or you can be like, how are you going to do it?
I would absolutely be like, "Oh, I might have come up with several solutions, but I'm not going to spoon feed it to you. You tell me how you're doing it."
Yeah, I would come up with a couple, like you said, and then just put them aside as a backup plan. But I would put the onus on the players to figure out how they're going to do it. So now that brings us back to, well, why are they doing this in the first place?
All right, so we have this, mayor or official who has the designs to make the town pretty, make everything, clean and sparkly again. And so why pay people to do it when you can have a gelatinous cube that's just going to go, eat up the filth and the rats and make it clean?
The idea is this mayor has come up with an urban revitalization plan. And, we have actually two different versions of the plan. One, the mayor wants to just clean out the sewers, and really it's a civil engineering project in order to, make the town more efficient, get rid of the waste, the sewer systems, the storm drain systems, they've been backing up, it's causing problems, the town's flooding, it makes the street look horrendous after it all washes away finally. There's loss of life with sending people down into the sewers to break these blockages. Accidents happen. It's become a really attractive nuisance problem for wandering monsters as well that want to take up residence in the sewers. So all these issues he wants to address, and after tons of research, he's come up with the perfect solution, which is a gelatinous cube. Let's hash out this story idea, and then we'll go to the other one.
All right, so in the sewers, it's going to lead to a whole bunch of different things. Now, we're going to have everything in the sewer sparkly clean again and what have you. But considering that a gelatinous cube grows on eating organic material, there's not a whole lot. Like, do they grow in size? If it's constantly got a source of rich nutrients, is this thing going to expand beyond the sewers? Is it going to...
Who cares if they do or not? In our game, they do, right? For this instance, they do, right? So there's two ways of looking at it, too. One, the players show up in the town and there's already this problem, right? Two is they've come back to the town or they lived in the town for years and, like, capturing the gelatinous cube or the piece was like an adventure they had eons ago. So, now there's the new problem, which is...
So... The question is, do gelatinous cubes split once they've eaten so much so now there's loads of them? Or does it just continue to grow and grow and grow until it's coming out storm drains, it's coming up pipes, it's coming up the places that you're sitting on? We'll leave it at that. So what kind of problems are going to arise when the gelatinous cube overgrows the area that it's been sent to clean?
Kind of like the blob, right? And also, too, like, once it stuffs all these places, maybe no more food's coming out. Maybe it comes out, like it oozes out like the blob, from the movie. So, like, that's definitely one thing that could definitely happen. And the players have to then... There's several, like, different ways. One, is this a monster they can just kill? Or two, is there a way they can make it shrink back down to a normal gelatinous cube size? Three, maybe the town, has a college of wizards or artificers or something like that, and they've been dumping stuff into the drains, right? So it's not the normal gelatinous cube you're used to.
Organic magical stuff that's, mutated the gelatinous cube into ridiculous powers and whatnot.
Or maybe, a cult to Jubilex comes along, discovers this, and they've been empowering it and feeding it with, special herbs and spices to really...
Special herbs and spices, meaning other townsfolk.
Well, yeah, that or magical... I was thinking magical regions or stuff to mutate it. But, so this can change the type of adventure you're having. Like, the problem might be like, oh, well, why is it growing out of control like this? Well, then with some investigation, they maybe find out there's things in it that shouldn't be in it. But In your town, there is no college of wizards. There's no artificers. Well, what you learn is there's this cult of Jubilex, and they've been doing it. So you like have to solve the mystery, stop the cult, and figure out how to undo what they did, and go back to having your happy gelatinous cube that was keeping your sewers nice and clean, keeping monsters out. It was really sweet while it lasted. So that could just be. This is almost like an environmental catastrophe that's kind of like happened to this town. So there's definitely some parallels you could do there, and like that's a whole adventure in itself.
But wait, there's more.
So so the other one was the idea.
So we go back to the mayor who brought the cube in to revitalize the town. But as opposed to clearing out the sewers, he wants to do a urban renewal on a section of the town for nefarious reasons.
So the idea is he brings in the adventurers. They bring this, either pieces back or the whole thing, whatever. He sets them to work in a section of town, and they do it by like laying out things that it would want to eat to kind of train it to go on a particular route. Everybody knows it's there, right? So it's really easy to get it out of the way. They're not particularly fast. Maybe occasionally there's an accident with drunkards or something, but for the sake of growth and prosperity of the whole town, these things happen. But as it gets bigger, as it grows, or maybe splits, like you're saying, they're like, oh great, we got more. It's really doing a good job. It's keeping the streets clean as if it were a street sweeper.
But the problem is people have gone missing.
But they're invisible people, right? They're people that don't get noticed a lot of times. Could even be social commentary in your game if you wanted it. But the idea that the homeless are going missing, and you're gonna have to figure out how that ties to your players. Maybe like in my game, I actually have characters that kind of are vested in some homeless people, and they talk to them and use them for different things, and they're just friends with them. I have a paladin of the Beggar King, so like that's kind of like her people. So like these characters would probably notice in my game,
right,
eventually that something was going on, and then then it becomes this problem to solve, and why is it happening now? Is the idea? Well, somehow something is either controlling the cubes, or or the homeless people are being drugged and left out for the cubes to come eat. But the first step is to realize that there's a problem. People are missing. The next step is to figure out, well, who are those people and why, and then you figure out the how. But then you have to figure out what's behind it all.
So in the official that's actually brought the gelatinous cube into town, well, he was doing it for the betterment of the town, but the real power behind what's going on is someone else of power, an official, could be the mayor itself, that wants to sell his house that's in this area, that's being all clean and proper, but the more vagrants and things that can be removed from the area will increase the value of his property. So it's all about his own personal gains.
So there are just a couple ideas of ways to use a really weird story plot in your game. So the question is, would you use something like this game in your game? Have you used something like this in your game? We got a place where you can discuss it. That's down in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can support us over on Patreon.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.